always say stuff like this, but how did Florida win the Stanley Cup? They won it by getting the player before he was the player, the Sam Bennett, the Forsling. These guys that were kind of underrated. And I'm a big fan of Montreal and all of these teams. Even the Leafs are trying it too, and it makes a lot of sense. Hey guys, welcome back to Pixel Plus Hockey. If you make sure to hit that subscribe button if you do enjoy the content, it would be greatly appreciated. Some of the best pickups around the NHL are players that you take a flyer on. A player that may be underrated, like you see the Maple Leafs doing it with Michelli. I mean, who knows if he ever turns out to be good. But you want to buy low on players. It's like the stock market, right? You buy low and you hope you can maybe not sell high, but hit a home run on a player. Now, with the Bolduc trade, I don't really know exactly what the St. Louis Blues are doing here. Now, when we talk about Logan Mailloux, I personally like Mailloux. Now, it's interesting. We did hear rumors that Mailloux was not necessarily that coveted by Montreal, which is kind of interesting. I think he does bring a lot of attributes. Like, he's a relatively physical player. He's got a little bit of offensive acumen. He's got a little bit of size. Like, I like the player, but to me, this trade is a absolute no-brainer by the Montreal Canadiens, and it's the exact type of trade that you want to do. It's getting the player before he was the player. You know, this is a player that has 19 goals in 72 games and a 17th overall selection that it does look like the St. Louis Blues hit on that selection as well. One other thing that I would like to draw your attention to with Bolduc is that he actually only plays 12 minutes and 48 seconds time on ice for the St. Louis Blues and was able to amass 19 goals. Generally speaking, if players play with better teammates and they get more time on ice, there's more opportunity to score. You know, this almost reminds me of, instead of getting Jordan Kyrou, getting the player that very well could be Jordan Kyrou in 1, 2, or 3 years. Now, of course, that holds risk, but this is a perfect trade for the Habs. Like, it could not be any better. Now, of course, because he is a young player, he's a restricted free agent. He is on the 3rd year of his restricted free agent deal, so the Habs are going to hold his rights as well, with his, I mean, which is just the cherry on top. You know, the cherry on top is that he doesn't really cheat the game either. He doesn't go to the soft areas. He's always in the hard areas. He's in the slot a lot. He actually has a level of physicality to him as well. So, like, again, Habs fans are really going to love this player, and they should. You know, it's funny, I was actually looking on Twitter and, you know, the way people are commenting. Now, most people really like this trade, but I remember one commenter saying, like, hey, this guy's got top 6 potential, and that's true, he does have top 6 potential, and him just getting torn up by commenters, maybe they just, you know, don't like the Habs or whatever, but I was like, I see this guy as a secondary scoring option. My goal here isn't to say that he is a first-line player. What I mean by secondary scoring is a guy that can be on your second unit, a guy that can be on your second line, a guy that can get 17.5 minutes a night. That's where I see Bolduc. So drop it in the comments below. What do you guys think of this trade? Would you have rather the Habs kept Mailloux, or do you like this trade? Do you think it's just kind of a no-brainer instead of giving up a bunch of assets for Jordan Kyrou? Now, maybe the Habs still are after Jordan Kyrou. I personally don't possibly think that's going to happen. I mean, that's probably why they got this player. They were probably talking about Jordan Kyrou with the Blues, and they just kind of settled on this player. But again, this makes more sense. You're not giving up as much. You're getting the player before he was the player, and you're taking a flyer on a guy that probably will excel in a bigger role. Now, in other Habs trade news, we do have information that Joshua Waugh might be on his way out from insider Anthony Marcoux. This is a player that was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens in the 5th round. He stands 6 foot. He's a hometown guy. He actually had a pretty good season, almost short of a point per game in the American Hockey League, and he's 21. I don't know. It's weird. He's a little young for me, so I actually kind of disagree with this. Although I guess it depends on what the Habs can get. If the Habs can trade a player like this and get something like a young center back with some potential that's around a similar age, I actually don't think I would mind that for the Montreal Canadiens. I'm just looking at his age, his point per game in the American Hockey League, and I do see a player with a level of value that I wouldn't just be willing to walk out the door for nothing. And obviously with the trade of Bolduc, they're probably looking at it as Waugh is now expendable. I do think that you need to be careful with that, and you have to treat players as they are what they are, which is assets. I don't like when teams get a player that's a good player, and then they just think the other player is a completely expendable asset, if you understand what I mean. I look at it, I think that's just kind of bad management. Now, again, I want to be clear. That's not saying they shouldn't trade him. I just want them to be a little bit careful here. And also, apparently the Montreal Canadiens have checked in on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I mean, that would be a perfect trade for them, but I don't know what they would have to give up to get RNH. I mean, he is an elite player, in my opinion. I understand offensively he took a bit of a step back last year. I think he got like 49 points. But I'm sorry, if you're any type of top six center in the NHL, you are essentially elite. Now, the Edmonton Oilers do really want to clear cap space right now, apparently. I think that's a silly move by Edmonton. I mean, again, if they're willing to do it, I would actually give up quite a bit for him, but I just don't know why they would. I mean, he's only got 5 years left, I believe. I think it's 4 or 5 years left. I'll put the information up on the screen at about like just over $5 million for a top six center in today's NHL with a rising cap. That is a steal, and I would be willing to actually give up quite a bit if I was the Habs personally. I'm just not sure why Edmonton would do that. Anyways, I am going to leave this video here. If you could make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.